Sir, welcome back. So in the last videos we covered almost the first two new features present inside Java 1.8 version. Sir, first we covered about what is functional interface, what are lambda expressions. Next, by using functional interface, how you can invoke lambda expressions. What is the difference between lambda expression and anonymous inner classes, right? Sir, we had a big discussion about lambda expressions and these functional interfaces, right? Sir, what is the next terminology we require to talk about? What is the next new feature came in the 1.8 version? Okay, like the next topic what I have to discuss, default methods. What is the concept, sir? Default methods inside interface. Default methods inside interface. This is the concept what we have to talk. Sir, what is the default method? Of course, what is the need? How to declare? Next, what is the advantage of these default methods? That part I will discuss. Sir, until 1.7 version, okay, interface, interrupt, inside interface. Until 1.7 version, we can take only abstract methods. Have you observed, right? Every method present inside interface is always public and abstract, whether we are declaring or not. Are you getting right? So every method is always public and abstract, whether we are declaring or not, if that method present inside interface, right? Public abstract void m1. Are you getting? Every method present inside interface is always public and abstract, whether we are declaring or not. So all methods are always abstract, sir. You can't take concrete methods inside interface. Remember this one. That's why sometimes interface is also considered as 100% pure abstract class. Have you observed? Because it always contain only abstract methods. Next, similarly, every variable present inside interface is always what? Public, static, final. Do you know, right? Public, static, final, int x is equal to 10. Sir, why interface variable is always public, static, final? That part anyway we covered in our core Java interface concept, right? Okay, but it's not a discussion related to that. Sir, anyway, sir, every variable present inside interface is always public, static, final. Every method present inside interface is always public and abstract, whether we are declaring or not. Inside interface, it is not possible to take concrete methods, right? Correct or not? Okay. So, but this rule is applicable until 1.7 version only. Remember, from 1.8 version onwards, happily we can declare concrete methods also inside interface, right? Sir, how I can declare concrete method inside interface? What is the need of this new concept? That part I will discuss. Sir, the concrete methods which we can allow to declare inside interface, these methods are by default considered as what? Default methods. Are you getting that? Which methods, right? Default methods, right? First, let me explain how to declare default method, how to use a default method. At last I will explain what is the internal reason why this concept came in the picture, how our life will be simplified because of this default methods. I will explain. Just have a look once, sir. Now, sir, from 1.8 version onwards, is it possible to take concrete method inside interface or not? Yes. But until 1.7 version, we can't take. Every method is always abstract only. But this rule is applicable until 1.7 version. But from 1.8 version onwards, okay, happily we can take concrete methods also in the form of default methods, right? Sir, how I can declare default method? Very simple. Sir, here interface, interrupt is there, sir. Interrupt is there. Now, here just observe, I have default void m1. I have default void m1. Inside, just I am taking system.out.println default method. Okay, just I am taking default method like this. Interface interrupt, default void m1, SOP about default method like this I am taking, sir. So this is nothing but default method, right? Okay, how we can declare default method? Just with the default keyword. Remember this one, sir. So if I declare as the default, we can access this one within the current package. Don't use such type of rules. Here default method with the keyword, it's a keyword, it's not modifier, sir. Just we can declare default method, default method with the default keyword inside interface. Clear for all of you, right? Next, sir, this default method by default available to the implementation class. If the implementation class wants to use, happily it can use. If the implementation class wants to override, it can override, no problem at all. Both options are there. Just have a look once, sir. Class test implements, class test implements interrupt. Class test implements interrupt. Now public static void main method string array args. Are you getting? Public static void main string array args. So here let me take test t is equal to new test. Test t is equal to new test t dot m1. Test t is equal to new test t dot m1. Happily, do you know this m1 method by default is going to get the chance, it will be executed. Sir, interface default methods by default available to the implementation class or not? Yes. If you want, you can call that default method directly. Suppose if you are not feeling comfortable with the default implementation, sir, I don't want the default implementation, happily we can override based on your requirement. In the implementation class, can I override default method or not? Yes, why not? Here I am taking class test implements, class test implements interrupt, class test implements interrupt. Okay, now public void m1. Have you observed, right? I'm trying to override, right? System.out.println my own implementation. I'm taking this one. Okay, I'm trying to override interface default method in the implementation class. Now public static void main method string array args. Public static void main string array args. Sir, if you want to call this, what is the possibility? Very simple. Test t is equal to new test. Okay, t dot m1. Are you getting? Sir, in the first scenario, which method will come? Directly this one is going to come, because in the implementation class you didn't override default method. But in the second scenario, which method is going to be executed? Overriding method by default is going to be executed, right? Are you in a position to understand, right? Sir, very simple. From 1.8 version onwards, we can declare concrete methods in interface in the form of what? Default methods, right? Sir, how to declare default method? This is the way to declare default method. Next, with the default keyword. Next, interface default methods by default available to the implementation class. Implementation class directly can use these default methods. If the implementation class not satisfied with the default implementation, then happily it is allowed to override based on its requirement. Is it clear for all of you, right? This is nothing but default methods. Then immediately you may have a big doubt, sir. Sir, if we are allowed to add concrete methods inside interface, then what is the difference between abstract class and this interface, right? Yes, still even you are adding concrete methods inside interface in the form of default method, but this interface never equal to abstract class. Yes, still there are several differences are there. That part we will discuss in detail. So first try to get how to declare default method, how to use a default method in the implementation class. Is it clear for all of you, right? Okay, that's all. Just let me go for a small example. Let me execute the same example, right? So just observe that the same method, the same example, whatever I explained on the board, just observe this one. Sir, interface interrupt default void m1. Regarding just I declared a default method, sir. Sir, what is this method? This one itself is nothing but what? Default method. Even we can write concrete methods inside interface from which version onwards, sir? 1.8 version onwards. Are you getting right? Sir, with which keyword we require to declare, sir? With what keyword we require to declare? Can you spell out? With the default keyword. Make sure, sir, this is the default method. Next, the default methods by default available to the implementation class. That's why class test implements interrupt. In the just I'm creating test t is equal to new test t dot m1. Are you getting? Sir, in the implementation class, if you want, you can use that default method, no problem at all. Just have a look once. Java C test.java. Happily the code compiles fine. Java test. If I can take yes, parent class or parent interface default method got executed, right? Everyone can able to understand, right, sir? How to declare default method, how you can call that default method in the implementation class. Okay, sir, now I didn't satisfy with this default method implementation. I want to override in the implementation class based on our requirement. How we can do that, sir? Public, okay, public void m1 method. Here I am taking system.out.println, okay, my own implementation. Are you getting? My own implementation like this I am taking, sir. My own implementation like this. Sir, have you observed? This is a default method, whatever we covered, sir. Have you observed? This is the default method. This default method I am trying to override based on our requirements, sir. This process is nothing but what? Overriding, sir. Both parent and child class methods having the same prototype. Have you observed? Same signature. Like this is nothing but what? Overriding. If you are not satisfied with the parent, I mean interface default method implementation, happily we can override. Sir, in this case, which method will get the chance? Obviously, overriding method is going to get in the chance, right? Okay. Now, here have a look once. What is the output? By default we are going to get my own implementation instead of interface default method, right? That's all. I hope you people can able to understand clearly what is default method, how to override. Like, sir, are you in a position to understand, right? So what is a default method? How to declare default method? Next, how you can call this default method in the implementation class. If you are not satisfied with parent interface default, I mean interface default implementation, how you can override? Clear for all of you, right, sir?